How's it going, guys? Anxious Cynic back again with another Mine-imator tutorial. So something you guys have been asking me about recently is how do you do the camera shake? Like say there's an explosion or something. If you watch some of my animations, particularly the A Man's Best Friend animation or the Monster School Creeper Life animation, you may have noticed there's a little bit of camera shake when an explosion happens, and you guys are wondering how to do that. Well, I wouldn't say it's an exact science, but let's go ahead and bring in a camera. And there we go. So basically, camera shake is accomplished by just shaking the camera around. But of course, you can't just move the camera and have that movement recorded. So you kind of have to mimic it. And like I said, I don't necessarily have this nailed down to an art. If you watched my how to save keyframes tutorial, then I recommend if you make a good camera shake animation, you could possibly just save the keyframes and import that into future projects and whatnot. But basically what I do is it depends on, really the timing of the animation and whatnot. But let's just say that at frame 30 here, the camera is going to shake due to an explosion or something. So basically what I would do is create a keyframe. It's probably, I don't know, 2, 3. I mean, you could do it individually by each keyframe or something, but let's just go with 2 keyframes away. So there's going to be 2 keyframe points in between each keyframe we have here, and we may need to adjust that timing. It really depends on the movement that you're doing, etc. So first thing we might do is kind of mimic the explosion affecting the camera as per regards fancy talk with regards to where the explosion is coming from. So let's just go ahead and import an explosion particle real quick just so we can get an idea of, a visualization of what we're trying to do here. So let's go ahead and just take this and put it right about there. So we should have, boom, like the dang old explosion happens. All right. Basically, we want the camera to kind of act like it's affected at first by the explosion. So what I would do is, since the explosion is coming from the left side, then I'm going to make the camera first jerk over to the left side. So I'm just going to kind of move it over slightly. I might give it a slight tilt here like this, and maybe just kind of have it angled up just a tad. This goes from 0 to negative 4.5, and then we'll just move over another couple of keyframes. And you kind of want this to go in opposites in as far as direction goes. So instead of, we went over kind of to the right and up. So the next one we want to go kind of down and left and down. So something like that. We also tilted to the right, so we might tilt this back to the left like this. And then we'll go ahead and create another keyframe and maybe kind of bring it over. Just kind of maybe come something like that. Maybe not quite as far up and over. And then we'll go another couple of keyframes and maybe back this way. And then tilt it again. Slightly adjust it. And we're basically just going to keep doing this kind of thing here, going in opposite directions. So if I go up and to the right, then the next one I want to go down to the left, and maybe back towards the middle somewhere, and then up to the left, and then down to the right. Whatever the order, there's no particular order. Once again, I've basically just done this by the seat of my pants as I'm animating to try and get the look that I want. So what you end up with here is this kind of basic motion like this, and I would scrub through something like this here, and this moment here, or this motion here, when it comes to this point and then this one, I feel like that's too far. Like it comes up, and when it goes down, that's too far of a movement. As you can see, it kind of travels a long way. So what I might want to do is just bring that up. It just depends on what you're trying to accomplish, what you're going for. And there's also the speed here. Some of this kind of seems a little bit slow. Another thing you might want to do is adjust the speed of the movement as you go along. So with the beginning of the explosion here, we may want to have this happen maybe a little bit longer like that, and then for other motions as it continues to pan out, or whatever, you want to bring it in and kind of have the timing probably vary, but in general, like the movement becomes a little more subdued and kind of, you basically want it to kind of become a little more jittery because the big motion from the explosion happens at first, and then the motions after that would generally become a little bit more jittery as the camera is stabilizing, if that makes sense. So you would kind of go with more exaggerated movements at first, and then as the camera is sort of calming back down, you would want to have smaller increments of movement on your, just keep up with your numbers here. And you can go by the look of it, obviously, just keep watching it over and over. So as you can see there, this is a pretty basic movement here. So that doesn't look too terrible for the quick way we did this. But as you can see here, like it goes from 2 frames apart on these two to 1 frame apart on these two, and then back to 2 frames apart. Again, this is not a science. I would suggest that you just play with this and get the look that you want, but that's basically how you would do it. And what I would generally do as well is, let's just say at this point we're going to kind of have the camera level back out to where it was in the beginning. So we have doop, and then it kind of just goes back in, and let's say on this one we'll just give it a little bit of a transition there. So the camera's kind of getting a hold of itself finally, and then maybe another explosion happens. So what we'll do is just copy paste these, copy and paste like so. So you get boom, and the camera straightens out, and then another explosion, and it shakes again. And then, of course, I would probably vary these a little bit for each one. Try not to make it look the exact same as the previous bit and stuff, the previous animation. And then that's pretty much it. You get this nice camera shake there, and it looks pretty good for the quick way we threw it together here. I can't talk today, but I hope that was helpful. I hope you guys get the idea here. So what you end up with is this. The camera turns around and is like, oh god, explosions and things are happening. So that's pretty much all you would do. Hope this was helpful to you guys. Hope you can use this information to make something hopefully a little better than this. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope this was helpful. If it was, feel free to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe to become a citizen today. And I will see you guys in the next video.